I see Earth as an infinite plane that stretches on for eternity. And in this sense, the Earth has no size. Nikola Tesla spoke of the Earth in this way. And when I came awakened to flat earth truth, this is the way I began to perceive my reality. Many of you are gonna be lost with this video, but stay with me and re-explore my previous flat earth videos. But in moving on, the point what I'm trying to make here is that Earth has no shape. We cannot grasp the concept of infinity. In order for you to understand the mind of Brother Sanchez, I will have to put it this way. The very act of measuring proves that we have no idea of the concept of infinity. So when I say the act of measuring, I don't want to confuse you. What I mean is that size and measurements is based around opinion. An inch in America may not be an inch in another country. $1 in America is not $1 in another country. Everyone's unit of measurement is based upon their own perception. Even if you give two people $500, the $500 isn't going to be worth the same to both of those individuals because everyone have a different perception of what's big and what's small. This is perception. Some people say $1 million is a lot. Some people say it's nothing. And so this just amounts our perception. What I mean about measurement is all there is one thing, and that's the universe. The further back we trace time at the earliest human cultures, the system of capitalism and measuring things out, creating different classes didn't exist. There was so much abundance on earth that there was just one state of being. There was no need to measure. That was just infinity. I mean, you perceived it as infinity. That was abundance. Make a long story short, when you think about it, the act of measuring, and I talked about the Garden of Eden in the previous video. You can look at that as when those original wars started taking place, we started creating different classes who get what based upon what you do in society to determine how much you're going to get, and we measuring up all the abundance on the earth. Really, it's an illusion. There's so much on the earth that everyone can live in abundance, but the act of measuring it all creates this capitalistic world we in today of competition and capitalism, and this new world order system that we are today that's anti-mother nature. But what I wanted to point out is to measure anything, you need a ruler. And that's very symbolic because the first rulers on this planet measured out and separated the resources among the individuals based upon what they did for society. They gave certain people more and measured who got what? Rulers and measurement. We say on one hand that infinity is a reality. In all religions, they teach that their gods exist somewhere where infinity is, where eternity exists. In other words, we say that infinity is a fact. Everyone on the earth agree that eternity is a fact. It exists somewhere. Some people say it exists after death. Some people say it exists up in the sky, in the seventh heaven in Zion, streets of gold. Bottom line is we give infinity a location, and when we do that, it's kind of crazy to me because once we establish the fact that infinity exists, location for infinity becomes something that's impossible, because if infinity exists, there's no such thing as anti-infinity, because infinity would include anything that's anti-infinity. And I know that sounds crazy, but to reword it in another way to get you to understand what I'm saying, look at it this way. Infinity means everything. And everything also includes nothing. Otherwise, it wouldn't be everything. If I say I know everything, but I don't know nothing, then I don't know everything. So here's this yin-yang dance that we see Lauryn Hill say everything is everything. It gets deep. Now I'm going to bounce back to the shape of the earth and how I perceive this reality. But first you got to explore these depths of my mind. If we say infinity is a fact, and infinity means everything there is, including nothing. Otherwise, it's not infinity. So another way you can look at it this way. If the Most High Creator, Creatress is all-knowing, in order for you to know everything, you have to know nothing. Otherwise, you don't know everything. So it goes back to the saying that the wise man can fake like he's a fool, but the fool can't fake like he's a wise man. Infinity encompasses all things, including nothing. Now, back to the shape of the earth and how it is tied to the afterlife and how I perceive reality. And this is just one belief. The earth is an infinite plane, and it's not really a shape to it or anywhere else you go. The stars that we see above are light fixtures that are creating a hypnotic effect to give us light resonant codes from the source. I get into that in previous videos. The 7 wandering stars, what we call the planets, can be looked at as a macrocosm chakra system. This ties into how I perceive Earth and how flat Earth truth makes so much sense. And people wonder how I get a lot of my knowledge. It's because until you understand that the Earth is flat, your research going to be centered around Copernicanism and globe theories, which going to lead you down a wrong path, not to truth. The truth is on a flat, solid ground, and this may sound cliche. Many people don't understand how the earth is flat. Check out my previous flat earth videos. But to make a long story short, a lot of people taught, not only our ancestors, but many great men that taught that the earth had no shape. So when we talk about where is eternity, there's no location for eternity. The only thing that exists is infinite Zen. Zen is 10. The 10, number 10 is the binary code. It's a divine triangle number because the triangle is made by 10 units. Ten is Zen. 10 is why we say tent, and a tent is a triangle. And I get into all of this, so explore those. I don't want to go here with this. Basically, what I want to point out is that the only thing that exists is infinite center. That's why I said there's no location. This is the confusion. Even when you look at the globe model, they tell you when you leave the earth, there's no direction because there's just space everywhere. But their motto is deception. They give you a void of darkness and exclude the creator from their cosmos. And to learn about that deception, explore my previous flat earth videos. Our creator is the same source that's in us. It's the same thing we look at with everything in nature. And what I mean is no location. And like when you fly off into the sky, there is no space. It's just magnetism. There is no emptiness. Everything that exists in this realm is creating one central state of consciousness. All of our individual states of consciousness is the same thing, is microcosms of that same thing. This is why no one can have a idea that's new under the sun, what they say in a lot of different variations. That's a popular motto. None new under the sun comes from the fact that everything you see is a code. Even yourself, you're a point of reference, you're a formula. You can be remade in a laboratory and the clone can be identical to you based on this code that makes you you. But what I'm saying is there's one code that makes all existence that we can't escape, and everything we perceive as individuality is an expression of that one code. So when you look at the binary code, you see 0 and 1 are the only two numbers, just 0 and 1. But you see many expressions of the 0 and 1. So you see 0, 0, 1, 1. You see 0, 1, 0, 1. You see 0, 1, 1, 1. You see 1, 1, 1, 0. And based on the different combinations you can come up with 0 and 1, when you look at the binary code, it can be infinite. It's the code of infinity. Basically, all or nothing creates everything. Nothing is simply a perception. All there is infinity. The Creator knows everything. That includes any possibility that the mind can form. Meaning, if there's something that can exist, that probability will manifest itself. Otherwise, the Creator don't know everything. In other words, the smart man had to be the dumb man at first in order to know how to be smart and dumb, to be the great genius. If you all only know smart and you don't even know how to be foolish, you don't know everything. So balance is the key. There's no location for infinity. The earth is where infinity exists. In other words, we are in eternity right now. And what eternity is systems of life and death, birth and rebirth. Because just like inhale and exhale, life and death can be looked at as a cosmic breath. Just like in another microcosm form, being awoke or being asleep at night. It's got to be yin yang, and this is a continuum that even play out, like I said, in and out, exhale, inhale. Your eyes got to be open, and every now and then you got to blink them. Otherwise, you'll get a dry sensation. So everything is this way, a duality that forms one trinity. When I look at Earth, I don't see it as a shape because consciousness has no shape. And Earth is just a macrocosm of this central consciousness that is infinite, and there's nowhere you can go to escape this consciousness because that's all there is consciousness. The only way we escape it is through these breaths, through these cycles of renewal, and that's not really escaping it. It's harnessing it and enhancing the perception of this reality every time. And this can get real deep because we in a realm of consciousness that has no shape. It's just infinity, an infinite center. So for example, people say there's other worlds or different places where eternity exists on a different structure. And that's kind of crazy when you think about it, because you're confining eternity to a place. When eternity encompasses all things, you're in eternity. You're in the center, and that's all there is. Infinite Zen, infinite center. When you pass away, you don't go anywhere. It's just like being born again into the center. Wherever you are, that's your reality, just like when you're dreaming. Just like if you're dreaming, you can say, where did you go in that dream? What location? Can we fly there? Can we go out in the sky and go to you and meet you in your dream? No, your dream, you went somewhere in consciousness. Only thing that exists is thought. Remember, everything is just vibrating particles and codes and gas particles vibrating. Nothing is really physical. And you say when you pass away, you go to a spiritual place that's non-physical. That's kind of baloney, because wherever you go becomes physicality. If I die right now and I go to a realm where there's a bunch of quote unquote spirits floating around and we're touching each other and I'm touching this spirit, that's the simple law that makes physicality physicality. Is the fact that I can touch you makes you solid and physical. And when you die, they say, I can't touch you, so you're spiritual. But wherever they say you go in a spiritual realm, if these spirits are touching each other, in a sense, you just went to another physical realm. In other words, wherever realm you find yourself at any given time becomes physicality. Fire is physical. Put your hands in it, it can burn you. But yet they tell you there's a non-physical place that exists in eternity somewhere called hell that has fire that can burn you. What makes fire burn you is the fact that you have a nervous system. If I put this hand on the stove, it's going to burn because I have nerves in here that's saying, ouch, my nerves interpret pain. The same people who teach us about hell teach us that we're in a spirit body when we're there. And this spirit body doesn't have nervous systems or veins. How is it able to interpret heat, interpret fire and pain? So this stuff don't make sense. That's why it's just beliefs. But when we start thinking about it, everything they tell us about exists here. And that's even what people like Tupac was saying in a lot of his interviews.
To me, religion, my idea of religion is this. I think that I learned this in jail, because I talked to every God there was in jail. I think that if you take one of the O's out of good, it's God. If you add a D to evil, it's the devil. I think some cool motherfuckers sat down a long time ago and said, let's figure out a way that we can control motherfuckers. And that's what they came up with, is the Bible. Because if the guy wrote the Bible, I'm sure it would have been a revised copy by now. You know what I mean? Because a lot of shit has changed. And I've been looking for this revised copy, and I don't see it. I still see that same old copy that they had from then. And I'm not disrespecting anybody's religion. Please forgive me if it comes off like that. I'm just stating my opinion. I feel like we get crucified. I mean, the Bible is telling us all these people did this because they suffered this much. That's what makes them special people. Right. I got shot 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know what I mean? And I got crucified to the media. You know. So I believe God blesses us. I believe God blesses those that hustle, those that use their mind, and those that overall are righteous. I believe that your karma, everything that you do bad comes back to you. So anything that I'm doing that's bad, I'm going to have to suffer for. But in my heart, I think what I'm doing is right. You know what I mean? So I feel like I'm going to heaven. You know what I mean? And I think heaven is just when you sleep with a good conscience. You don't have nightmares. And hell is when you sleep, the last thing you see is all the fucked up things you did in your life. And you just see it over and over again. Because you don't burn. Because if that's the case, it's hell on earth. Because bullets burn. You know what I mean? It's people that got burnt in fires. That means they went to hell already. You know what I mean? All that is here. So what else? What do you got there that we ain't seen here? What do you got there that we ain't seen here?
Nikola Tesla said that Earth is a realm. Now back to your dreaming. When you dream, you forget about this life you live in. Right now, I could go to sleep and have a dream that I'm with complete strangers and I'm the father of a family in Wisconsin somewhere. And in the dream, I know my son, I know my daughter, I know my wife, as if I've always lived in this reality. And I wake up and I tell everybody about my dream. And it's crazy because I'm giving out names. I'm giving out information about these people that I just knew it was real when I was dreaming. And I'm giving an example. If you're having a dream, the dream becomes your new reality. Whatever your consciousness shifts to becomes your reality and becomes quote unquote physicality. Spirituality and physicality isn't separate. Like Morpheus said in the Matrix, is what you call in physicality is simply signals interpreted by your nervous system to your brain of touch and feel. If that's all that encompasses physicality, then everything is physical, even what we call spiritual. So what I'm saying here is that the spiritual realm, the physical realm, and any realm you can fathom all exists here. There's only one location, and it's infinite Zen. There is no such thing as location, okay? You exist in infinity. And this is a concept that's hard to grasp, but this is your reality. Wrap your head around this. You exist in infinity right now. There is no shape to the earth. The ground you walk on is an infinite plane that stretches on forever. You exist in a realm of consciousness. And when you think about earth, this is the construct of infinity. There is no shape to it. That's why the ground you walk on is infinite. What we're calling the shape of the earth or the shape of infinity is simply the code of it. And it's easy to get the two twisted. When you're looking at the ground you walk on, there is no shape to it again because it's infinite. If you dig, and dig, you'll never reach a bottom to it. The globe they give you, they tell you you'll dig your way out into space on the other side. None of that stuff makes any sense. If you look at the globe, they tell you that space is a vacuum and Earth is a non-vacuum. But where does the non-vacuum of space meets the vacuum of Earth? Because that's a very interesting point. We need to explore how these physics work. Our atmosphere should be all over the place, scattered all out in space. It makes no sense. Only thing makes sense is what the ancients said in their cosmology. And to learn more, explore my FE videos. Back to the topic, the Merkaba, the figure 8, all of these symbols that mirror themselves on each side, just showing you this continuum. And it's not really a shape to it. This is the ancient way of showing you a concept. All right. Just like when you look at the binary code, all at 00111, you can just say that's the code of infinity. And the ancients might do the same thing. They didn't have the binary code. They understood the same concept, but they may draw it different. In a figure 8 or a snake or a DNA strand. Yes, the earth is flat because the ground you walk on is flat. It's level. It's a horizon. It's a straight line. It's the stage for consciousness. If you have a projector, the projector has to have something to project itself upon. Anything that exists because of a duality. So just like you exist because of a mom and dad, a duality. This dual aspect was always present. And basically what I'm trying to break down to y'all is the two snakes that we see dancing around the poles and the yin yang, the two fishes, is this dance, it's this code of infinity. And there's no shape to the earth. And basically, I just want y'all to try to grasp what I'm telling you here. This was not supposed to be a long video. There's nowhere to go. Just like if I was to fall asleep and dream right now, you can't drive to my dream because I didn't go anywhere. Like consciousness is just all there is. All there is infinity. All there is infinite consciousness. Is one location in that center. Everything else is based on perception. So in this reality, this what we call the North Pole would be like the spinal cord in a human that separates our left and right brain, left and right eyes, our two personalities, higher self, lower self, that even projects us into this realm. And that can get real deep. So with this code, when you go talking microcosm and macrocosm, so much can come out of that binary code, just that 0 and 1, based on the many combinations. You can get all the animals, all of the human life, all of the, and it's all just one thing. Because even if you say, I got $1 million, it's still 1 million. Even though it's a bunch of dollars, it's still 1 million. So like infinity, we may view it as a bunch of numbers, but it's still one thing. It's still one thing. And I hope y'all grasp what I'm trying to break down here. It's just hard to explain. Like wherever you find yourself, you're going to always be at the center of a reality and a consciousness tuned into it. Just like I'm tuned into this right now. I'm Brother Sanchez. I can dream that I'm a rapper somewhere with Def Jam and don't even know anything about Brother Sanchez. What if I die in my sleep? Then the Def Jam version of myself becomes, if I dream right now that I'm a rapper with Def Jam and I die in my sleep, that dream was always my reality. I never knew Bro Sanchez. You get how this go? It's like shifting consciousness. It's hard to explain, and I will make future videos to try to find different ways to explain this concept more deeper, but this is the best I can do right now. Stay tuned for the Afterlife series. Thank y'all for checking this out. Peace and much love.